Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on European Confessions. The following story that you're going to be listening to, it was sent to me by one of our dear brother, and this is the narration of the message that he sent to me. The narration, it reads like this. Hello, brother Nashi, how are you? Can you please post my own story as hidden identity? My brother, I have come here on your platform so that I can share with you my own story. So as for now, my wife, she is in Dubai, but she is nothing but a crippled woman, all because of the rituals that I did. And currently I am here in South Africa. I am running some businesses that I have here in South Africa, and I have managed to get one South African lady who is my girlfriend, and I feel like she's going to become my second wife because I love her a lot. I love her more than I love my wife. Anyway, there is no way I can keep on loving my wife because of the way that she is crippled. So as for her, she is permanently staying there in Dubai. So what happened for me to be where I am is I came here to South Africa when I was still a young man. I was just an innocent boy, and I started to work for this other white man. The man that I was working for at that time, he was a very poor man, and I used to work as his gardener. I still remember that there were times when he would try to do this farming business, but the problem was that he did not have the proper equipment. He was using some 2 donkeys that he was using to plow the fields, and I was the one who used to help him out a lot. And when things were really hard, this man, he would go into the bushes, then he would hunt for some guinea fowl and some wild pigs. Then we would load those items. Then we would load the game meat into one of his bakkies. Then we would go into the location. And a lot of people, they used to laugh at him because of the way that he was poor. But I worked for this man for about 16 years. Then 16 years later, this man, he then sent the foreman. And I still remember that day when we got fired. This was after I had dumped my girlfriend, because I used to have this other girlfriend of mine who was a Tonga-speaking woman, but quite an old woman. So she used to cheat on me quite a lot, and I ended up dumping her. Since I had spent a lot of years, about 10 years, staying with my Tonga girlfriend, and she had failed to give me a child, I thought of marrying a woman who also came from Zim, and that is how I ended up staying with my current wife. So, and at that time when I got fired, she had fallen pregnant, and I had waited like all my life for a woman to tell me that she had fallen pregnant for me. So on the day that she fell pregnant for me, that was the day that the boss called us to the shed, and we went there. We got onto the tractor, and then the foreman drove us to the shed, and then the boss told us that unfortunately he was forced to fire all the people that were from Zim, Mozambique and Malawi, because only South Africans were supposed to work at that farm. He said that he felt so much sadness in his heart, but he was going to let us go. That on that day, that was when I discovered that life is not fair. And even though after he had told us that he was going to let us go, and he started to pray for us, he opened up his Bible and started preaching and praying for us. But in that moment, I saw that all of this was just a lie. This thing of people telling you that God is real and then they pray for you, it is just fake. And I saw that life is just unfair, because this man, before he had become this big commercial farmer, I was one amongst his first workers, the first people that worked for him. And this was like many years ago. But on the day that I got fired, and at that time I didn't even know that when you are working on your farm, the pension that you get, it depends on how many years you would have worked on that farm. In my own case, since I had worked 16 full years, this meant that I was going to be given 500 rands each and every year for the 16 years that I had worked for him. And this was in 2021 when we got fired. So this man then calculated the money that he was supposed to give me. So he said 16 by 5. So the money that was my pension money, it was 8,000 rands. That was all that I got. So after he had deducted some of the money minus the tax, then I only got 6,300 rands after working for him for 16 15 years. So this man then gave us 3 days, and he said that he had been given 3 days and we were supposed to vacate his farm. Only South Africans were supposed to be on that farm. So we went around trying to look for a job in that farming community, but unfortunately there was no one who was willing to hire us. So I then went into the location because there was a man who owned a brickyard in the location. So I started to work at that man's. So I went into the location because I wanted to work for that man. Whilst I was in that location, that was when I came into contact with this other Sangoma. So the Sangoma told me that he had seen in the spirit that I was someone who actually had a gift, and this was a gift of wealth. So he wanted to help me to strengthen that gift of wealth that God had given to me. And I was not supposed to suffer the way that I was suffering, but I was supposed to become a very wealthy man. So this man, he then started to assist me. So he told me that I was supposed to go into town and I was supposed to buy a clay pot. And after I had bought that clay pot, I then went back to him and he gave me a calabash. And he told me that I was supposed to buy a black chicken and wait until the sun had gone down. So I waited. When I saw that everyone had fallen asleep, including my wife, I then went outside and I took that black chicken and I slaughtered that black chicken, making sure that all the blood, as much as I made sure that all the blood that was coming out of the chicken was getting into that calabash. And from that day, that was when I found out that I actually had been given the spirit of good luck. I would go around just walking. Then someone who will be walking in front of me will just drop their wallets, even their handbag. And there was even a day when I was walking so early in the morning in town, I found out that there was this other school bag that was just dumped somewhere. I then opened that school bag and I saw that there were some laptops that were in there, and as well as some smartphones. So I took that school bag and I waited for those guys that buy and sell your cell phones, and I sold everything to them for a cheaper price and they gave me money. But the only problem that I was facing is that even though I had this spirit of good luck, but I would always come across a police van, and the police will ask me where was I from, and when they would see that I was from Zim, those guys, they would take all the money that I had. So I went and I reported this matter back to that Sangoma, who told me that everything was going to work out at the end of the day. He told me that this is what happens when you have the spirit of good luck. He said that the spirit of good luck, it goes hand in hand with you being harassed by the police on each and every occasion. When you come across the police, they would always harass you. So he told me that I was supposed to get used to it. So this man, he told me that my wife was going to have a miscarriage and I should not panic because this was part of the rituals. So my wife lost the baby that she was carrying, and after she had a miscarriage, I started to make a lot of money, and already I then started planning. I had come into contact with this other agency, like if you want to invest in Dubai, then you get into contact with them, then they will plan out an investment for you in Dubai. So as for my wife, I said, my dear wife, I can see that you are in pain the way that you lost this pregnancy. I can see that it has traumatized you. So I want to take you out. Like, where do you want to go? Which country do you want to go for a trip? And my wife then said that she wanted to go to the UK or to go to Dubai. Then I said, let us settle for Dubai. So we ended up going to Dubai, and when we were in Dubai, I convinced my wife and I said, how about we just make Dubai our new home? And she agreed. She asked me about the other businesses that I had started here in South Africa, and I told her that she was not supposed to worry. All that she was supposed to do now, since she had suffered all of her life, is to enjoy. But me and my wife, we then bought our property in Dubai, and that is where she is staying. So I was the one who was always traveling between South Africa and Dubai. So I was then told that I was supposed to go and throw a coffin, and this coffin, I was supposed to choose any river which I wanted to go and throw that coffin. So this I did last year in April, that was when I went and I chose this other river, and I then bought that coffin, and I took like the baby wear that my wife had bought, because after she had found out that she was pregnant, she said, since we do not have a lot of money, let me buy at least each and every month I buy some baby wear, so that by the time when I go into labor, we are not going to struggle. So she had bought some of the baby wear, but she left them here in South Africa. So I took them and I placed them inside that coffin. I looked for a place in the river where it seemed to be very deep. That was where I threw the coffin. Then it sank to the bottom of the river. After that ritual was done, I then returned back home. So this year in April, that was when I received a phone call from our maid who is in Dubai. So our maid then called me and she was in panic mode. I asked her what was going on. She told me that my wife was really sick. She said, Madam is really sick. I have taken her to the hospital. So I got onto the next flight, left South Africa for Dubai. When I arrived in Dubai, I saw that my wife, she was really sick. But I understood that this was supposed to happen, for the Sangoma had told me that this was what was going to happen. My wife was going to become a crippled woman so that I can keep on making money. Even though I pretended as if I was sad, but deep down I was really happy. Yes, there are people out there who are going to judge me, but all that I want to say is that you cannot judge me, for life is not fair at all. Because if life was fair, at least the man that I used to work for on his farm, after he had fired me, with all the years that I had worked for him, with all the money that he now has, at least he was supposed to compensate us, to give us a little bit of money so that we can start afresh. But the money that he gave me, it could not even help me at all. What was I supposed to do with only 6,000 rands after working for someone for 16 years? So I did what I had to do so that at least I can enjoy life, because I saw that life is not fair. Dear listeners, right there was a narration of a message that was sent to me by one of our brother right there. Strange things do happen in this world. Yo.